Hey there. Hi, everybody. Let me know if you can't hear us or if something's weird this week. Are you going to sit down, baby?
Sure.
You usually sit.
Okay. I'm sitting.
There. Now the camera can see us.
Yay.
Yay! All right. It is time for Ask Whit Wednesday. And we're trying to be a little bit more organized with Ask Whit Wednesday. So going forward, we're going to put a post up on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And that's where you can submit your questions for Ask Whit Wednesday. Jason's gone through the group for like an hour and a half this morning just looking for good questions to answer. So starting next week, I'm going to put a post up on Tuesdays, and you can put your question there, put one question per line, and then everybody can go through and vote on which question they want answered.
And we've only got a few today, so if you have questions right now, those that are on live, put them in, and we will try to get to all of those.
Scoot over. You're in the middle of the screen.
I want to be center stage.
I'm center stage.
Oh, okay, man. Okay. All right. So,
Duh.
Are you ready to go with question number one?
Question number one.
Question number one is, what do I do, especially if I'm new and someone that I'm talking to, in this case a seller, wants to ask for a referral? Okay, so this would be a seller that maybe they're a little bit nervous and they want to know, that you're a real person and that you're not somebody that's going to try to scam them or stuff like that, right? I mean, sadly, people have been screwed over to the point that people kind of expect that, right? If you talk about something that they don't understand, the brain kind of immediately goes there and they can't get past that. So here's what I do. I have, I've had people before that, ask me things like, how many deals have I done and stuff like that. Whitney and I have done enough now that we just point to some of the past deals, and it's kind of either at that point kind of a take it or leave it thing. But what do you do when you first starting off, right? What if you haven't even done one deal yet and they ask you this question? The first thing is, we are here to help people and then make money at the same time in the process. Never lie to people. Do not lie. Do not try to bend the truth. Do not try to, throw out stuff that you don't know what you're talking about, okay? In the beginning, and I had this happen more when I started trying to invest in apartments than I did really with the houses. People would ask me questions that I didn't know the answer to. And I had two choices. I could try to wing it and hopefully get it right, or I could do what I thought was a smart thing and just tell them, nobody's ever asked me that before. And they would say, so you don't do these deals all the time? And I'll say, I'm going to be honest with you. This is my first deal, but I have a group that I work with of partners. And I was in a group like this and was getting some in a mastermind group, and we were getting some attention, whatever. And so that was a truthful statement. I was working with partners, and that's what I did. I went back and said, hey, guys, I'm in this situation. I don't know the answer. What is the answer? And people would actually tell me, and then I'd go back and I would relay the answer. But, and I found that didn't turn people off. I had nobody that said, oh, you know what? Well, I'm not going to talk to you because this is potentially your first deal. Or, once I got one or two under my belt, oh, well, you've only done two deals. Okay. The other thing that really helps when you're talking to a seller and they start wanting to know about how many of these things you've done in the past and things like that, most of the time when I tell them that we are going to close this with an attorney, normally that calms all the fears, okay? Because people say, oh, so this will be like a regular closing. No, it's not going to be like a regular closing because you're not going to sit there for an hour and have to sign 92 million documents, okay? It's just going to be a simple contract. But yes, we will go to a real estate attorney and we'll actually do that. Sometimes they've said, hey, do I get to pick the attorney? Sure, can't say that they're going to accept lease options and stuff or not. I mean, why don't we just go to the guy that I know will do it? And usually they say, okay, yeah, we'll use your guy. So, normally that'll calm their fears. If the attorney part doesn't calm their fears, tell them that you're doing this, you're working with partners, and, you'll actually go back to them, bring it back to them, and then come back with an answer. So hopefully that helps answer the question in case somebody does want a referral or something like that.
Is it my turn yet?
You got anything else to add?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a whole lot to add.
Okay.
All right. So if somebody wants to know if you have a referral or if you've done this before, I want you to tell them tell them what you have done before. Okay. If you've rented a house or rented an apartment or bought a house, they're wanting to know that you know what you're doing. All right. And say, I have no problem with you saying, I've never done a deal like this before, but I have done a deal that was similar. And like Jason said, I haven't done a deal just like this, but I have a friend, I have a partner, I have a team that I'm working with, and they do these deals all over the country all the time. So it's really not that big of a deal. Now, one thing that will curb this question, it's not about me. This is not about me. All of the questions should be to them and asking how you can help them. They should be asking, hey, have you ever done this before? Just kind of like as an afterthought, not like they're drilling you for a resume. All right, go out with a servant's heart that you're going to be helping somebody get out of a problem property that they don't want anymore. And if they say, man, you sure know a lot about this. Have you done a lot of these? Actually, no, I haven't, but I'm working towards it. And you can also say, you're the third person that I've talked to this week. I plan on getting a house this week. This is how I do this. And I'm going to do 100 houses like this year. You're just number 18 on the list. All right. So like Jason said, don't lie. All right. But let them know that you have friends, you have a partner, you have a team, you have people that you know that, you know what? I don't really know the answer to that. Not going to lie to you. But give me a little bit and I'll get back to you.
I don't remember who said it. Who was it? You may recall. Who was it? There's some well-known person that said every time you try to sound smart, you look stupid. So don't try to start throwing out fancy terms and stuff that they wouldn't understand just so you'll think that they are. Right?
Conduct a mini real estate seminar in the seller's kitchen. Please do not do that.
If you don't know, just say don't know. I mean, that's. I
don't know. Let me write that down. You got any other questions that I can answer? Oh, I don't know about that one either. Okay, let me write that down. Okay, I'll call you back in an hour.
You ready to move on to number 2?
Yep. What's the next question?
Next question is, the seller asks if I am buying for myself or renting the house out. What do you say at this point?
So what's the truth? Because we have some students who are out looking for a lease option for their own personal property. We found this house that we're living in. We got it for a lease option. We moved in under a lease option, but we were looking at this house for ourselves. So this goes back to your one-liner and your why. Are you looking at a house for yourself? Or are you looking to use this as an investment property? Because this isn't a one and done answer, because I don't know what you're doing with this property unless I have a chance to actually talk to you and know what you're doing. But even if you're looking at it for an investment, again, it shouldn't be a big deal. No, I'm not moving into this. I used to tell people all the time when I was looking at houses in Dandridge, I wanted a house in Dandridge. I wanted us to move to Dandridge. So I was looking at houses in Dandridge, and I kept telling people, I'm looking for houses for me. I got to tell you, though, this house is not, what I want to move into, because I want something on the lake. And I think I'll probably just take it and rent it.
And I don't say that either, because technically I'm not renting the house. I am putting somebody in the house that's buying the house. Now, yes, they are buying it on a lease option, but they are on a path to purchase this house. They have agreed to a sales price on the house. They've agreed to a monthly payment on the house. They've agreed to do all the repairs and maintenance and all those type of things on the house. Okay, that is not a rental agreement. Well, I don't explain all that to them. What I explain to them is, are you going to rent the house? No. I'm going to find somebody that's going to buy the house, and they are going to buy it, on terms. And then if they want more opportunity, they can get more opportunity. I've actually had to explain to people before the difference. because for people in the course, there's a difference between a renter and a tenant buyer. There's a difference in their mindset. The difference there is they are putting money in the game up front. They're not just putting down a security deposit. This is not first and last month's rent, okay? And so, what I tell the sellers sometimes, if they really get down and dirty with it and they want to know how it works, I'll explain that to them. Now, one thing the seller a lot of times says is, well, hold on. So you're saying you're going to get a large pile of money up front. And what I tell them is, I am, but, all or a significant portion of that's going towards the purchase price. So that's not just like I'm just going to put all that money in my pocket and they're going to get no credit. Now, I am going to put it in my pocket, and if they walk away from it, I am going to keep it. But, we're still explaining how this works. So I try to stay away from just saying, are you going to put a renter in it? Yes. No. I'm going to put a tenant buyer in it. I'm putting somebody that wants to purchase this house, and we're putting in place a method and a path for them to purchase this house.
Another thing is, it depends on your exit strategy for this. You could also say that I'm going to put somebody in here. I'm not going to be moving into this, but I'm going to stay in the middle of the deal, and I'm going to make sure that your payment is made. Versus if you're doing an assignment, then you say, maybe I'll give you part of this money, but now you got to make sure the monthly payment gets made. So you want me to stay in the middle and get more money, or do you want me to get out of it and you have to deal with them?
Okay. Anything else on that?
Nope.
All right. Before I get to this last one, because it's going to cover a lot of different things here, I do want to so Val's got one here. It says, can you explain the difference on who pays the taxes and insurance on an owner financing deal, subject to and lease option? Okay, so let's kind of take these one at a time here. The easiest one to talk about is probably subject to, because most of the time, not always, but most of the time when you get a mortgage from a bank, they're going to require you to have an escrow account, and they're going to require that taxes and insurance be prorated every month so that when it comes due, it's already been collected, and then they make the payment for the seller of record on that behalf. Okay, so if you're if you're buying a property subject to, and we're going to continue to just make the payments to that bank, then it's going to be business as usual, right? We're going to make those same payments. They're going to actually disperse the taxes and insurance payments.
On your lead sheet, there's a question that says PITI, that's principal, interest, tax, and insurance. And so if they say, yes, taxes and insurance are included in my monthly payment, then it flushes through, just like what he said.
Yep. So let's break that down then. Lease option could be either or, right? Because we could purchase a lease option and still be making the payments to the bank. So if we're making payments to the bank and it's already set up escrowed, that is something that will continue to be done. Now, what
just
do you
like
do?
in subject to.
What if it's a free and clear house?
So we're getting owner financing?
There's no escrow. Or it could be lease option on a free and clear house.
So you can do this probably 14 different ways. You could say, when I get the first option payment in, then I'm going to pay taxes and insurance for 3 years. You could use a third-party company to filter your monthly payments. Say you use your attorney's escrow account and you make payments to the attorney and they keep part of it for taxes and insurance every year. Every month, just like a regular escrow account at the bank, and then they ship the seller the rest of it. Or you could say, Mr. Seller, I'm going to include it and you're still going to make the payments. Or, you could do it any way you wanted to, but you need to agree to that. And that's one of those things that if you forget that, double check with your attorney and make sure that when he writes up the full-blown contract, that it's in there and it's very clearly spelled out. I have Val's next question is the tenant buyer expected to pay taxes and insurance? In my experience, tenant buyers are not ready for that. They want to make their monthly payment. They want to make their electric and their internet. Okay? So whatever their monthly payment is, I usually try to be the smarter one in the situation and just deduct that taxes and insurance out of it. I don't put it on top of it. I make it clean and easy for them so they don't get confused on what's going where. And it's in my best interest to use their money to pay the taxes and insurance anyway. They don't know what I use that money for every month anyway. And if you've got an $800 a month payment and you're collecting $1,200 a month, then you're still making money even if you had to pay taxes and insurance out of the rent every month. Got money on mine.
Yep. And the easiest thing is a lot of times a tenant buyer will ask about that when you say, no, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to take care of that. Oh, so you're saying you're going to pay my taxes and insurance for me? Yes, I am. I'm going to use I'm not going to tell them this. I'm going to use your money to do it. But yes, absolutely. I'm going to make that payment. I'm going to use your money. But yes, I'm making the payment. So now, easy way to do that.
Speaking of tenant buyers, though, they need a renter's insurance policy. And that is also in the full-blown contract, okay? And if you're not in the group, I've got a one-pager contract that we use, and then I've got a full-blown contract that we use, okay? The one-pager doesn't go into a lot of specifics. It's just a one-pager. The full-blown contract is 14 pages on the seller side and 11 pages on the buyer side, or vice versa. Either way, it's over 10 pages on seller side and on the buyer side. And definitely when you're talking to your tenant buyer, you want to make sure that they have renter's insurance, but that's just to cover their crap. I mean, their valuables that they moved into the house. Okay? You keep a landlord policy, you keep liability insurance, you keep whatever it is that your insurance broker recommends that you have. If your seller has a mortgage on it, or even if they don't, you want to become an additional insured on your seller's insurance policy. But your tenant buyer, they need renter's insurance in case something catastrophic happens, like a fire or a hurricane or something. They want their stuff covered.
Yep.
Any other questions? If y'all have any questions, post them in here. You want to go on to the last question, though, while we're waiting on some questions to come through?
And this is one that we get a lot, and we don't get it posted in the group. We get this with people that are private messaging us and things like that.
It goes down in the DM, y'all.
Most people are, and we get a lot of very detailed stuff and everything. And please don't get offended if we ask you to post that up in the group. It's not to call you out or anything, but chances are, we've got almost 1,000 people in the group now. Chances are you're not the only one with that question, okay? You're just the only one that's actually taken the time to actually ask it. So post that up so everybody can benefit from it and things like that, okay? The other thing is it needs to be as detailed as it can be, and that kind of gets to what I get here. We get a lot of questions from people that say, how do I get started? And I'm just going to tell you, my reaction back to you is get started with what? And sometimes I don't get a response. But here's the thing, guys. I'm going to tell you like I tell my 10 and 12-year-old kids sometimes, okay?
We found out yesterday he's a strict dad.
Yeah, we were told that I was a strict dad, okay? So, okay. And maybe that's the case. But, we're not in the business of babysitting, okay? I guess you would say we are because we have programs that actually do that. But not all the time, and definitely not for free, right? But here's the thing, okay? Your questions have to be detailed, or we at least have to know that you put some thought process in it. Where do I get started? And not telling me anything is not going to help, okay?
Here's a good example. Where do I get started on your website? Where do I get started in this group? How do I get started buying my first house? How do I get started buying my personal house? How do I get started finding sellers? How do I get started with a marketing campaign? All of those are really good, but how do I get started? How do I get started with what? What's your goal? What are you wanting to do? I can help you create a path, but I need to know where we're going, because where I think we need to go might be totally different than where you think we need to go. Yep. Not that we have communication issues anytime, but sometimes we need to clarify what we're trying to say.
And I usually break it down to this thing, right?
Hey, Jay, what was your question? I don't know if we answered it or not. We've gone through 5 questions so far. Put your question here and we'll make sure we get to it.
If we're talking about buying and selling houses here to make money, there's really, we got 3 steps, right? We got to buy them. Well,
no,
first of all, we got to find them. We got to find them. We got to buy them, and then we got to sell them. Okay. So, I mean, at least give me that. At least, to say, hey, I have, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with finding properties. Now, what I'm going to come back to you with is, what have you already tried? And if you tell me nothing, I'm probably going to say,
there's a free cheat sheet.
Yeah, you need to try something. I mean, I honestly had one person that kept almost to the point of down on their knees begging, and I had to be a little bit candid. I said, what you're wanting is the Publishers Clearinghouse band to show up at your house and somebody film it. You're wanting me to come into your living room and take you by the hand and open your mouth and shove all this stuff down your throat so that you don't have to do anything.
We can do that, but that's by application only.
And, we love to help people, okay? But if you're in that mindset, it really and truly, and I want you to pay attention here, guys, if you are in that mindset where you think that this is easy and you don't have to put any effort in and you don't have to do anything or whatever, you haven't been paying attention in life. Or either that or you've been very fortunate, because good things don't come to you without you investing in yourself and you setting goals and you going out and achieving against those goals. That just doesn't happen. And if it's happened for you, I'm glad that has. And if you could teach you how to happen to me, I'd love to do it, right? Wouldn't you? But you have to put in the effort. And so when you ask these questions and stuff, you have to be able to give us some detail. You got to let us know exactly where you're stuck, because we're going to want to answer a very pointed question. And I know that, when you do get started, there's a lot. But even if you come back and you say, you know what, where I'm getting stuck is I was looking at this post in the group from this particular day, and it just didn't make sense. Okay, that shows me that you've put some effort in. You've actually taken the time to read it, and you've come back and said, hey, I was up with you until this point, but I don't understand right now. That I can accept. That I'm willing to help. But, I'm in other groups and forums for things that, that I'm interested in, some real estate, some not real estate. And this is a common trend. I mean, it's a common trend for people that are out there and they want somebody to just give them all the information they need and not do any of the work. And that's just, I don't treat myself that way. I don't treat my wife that way. I don't treat my kids that way. So I'm surely not going to do that, for people that are, connected just through Facebook. I mean, I'm just not. And I don't think Whitney's going to do that either. You have to want it, and you have to be you have to be willing to work for it. It's funny. I was reading a book, and I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about their product, and they were saying that they had invited family members to their high-ticket events, right? And this is somebody that has like an inner circle group, that I think they charge about $25,000 to be in this group, and you're in it for like 6 months, and blah, blah, blah. But they were saying, they said, I have invited family members to go on this 6-month journey, and I've had them where they showed up for the initial kickoff. And I've even had a few that have kind of stayed through a portion of it, but not one of those people have ever taken action and succeeded. And it's because they don't have any skin in the game. They were sitting next to people that had paid $25,000 to be there. Okay, that's going to force somebody to take action. If you've made that investment, by golly, you are going to take action. Okay. So you either have to take action through financial to cause the pain, or you got to take effort to cause the pain. And most of the time, you got to take both, right? But it's not going to come for free. You're either going to have to put in the money and the time, or you're going to have to put in a lot more time. And so, make that determination on your own. I can't make it for you. I can't tell you that you got to do it. But if you're going to do it, take the time to take the action and to take determined action, right? Determined action. So I'm off my soapbox there. But just, we're here to help. We're here to answer any questions. But please, 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 please don't just send something to say, I don't know what to do.
Tell us you don't know what to do about what?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing is when he talks about effort, this is a stack of yellow letters that I did last week, okay? Return address, stamped, address, stuffed. This is the list that corresponds to this. So we're not asking you to do any work that we're not doing, all right? We're dropping yellow letters. We do bandit signs. We do Craigslist. We do Facebook. We do all those things. And I also want to remind you that we're not asking you to dig a ditch. I'm asking you to mail some letters. All right? You can do that. And when you mail those letters and the calls start coming back in and you are forced to take action because you got people calling you wanting to know what you'll give them for their house, it's an amazing feeling, but it's also amazing to see, like, holy crap, this is working. Let's go do this.
So we've gotten a couple of questions here in the group. The one says, any tips on analyzing numbers for a vacation property? What makes a great deal? Any ratios to look for? Anything that could easily be missed? Okay. So
on vacation rentals?
So one thing to remember, that's going to differ a little bit from a single family, because in a single family where you're putting somebody in it, you're going to get a non-refundable option fee up front from that buyer, right? In a vacation rental, you're not going to get that, okay? So you're going to want to supplement that with what you're getting every month. So we said, we kind of set a threshold, Whitney and I do, on single families. We like to get the non-refundable option fee up front, and then we like to get about $300 or more on monthly spread, okay? On a vacation rental, I'm not going to accept $300 over what they're currently getting, all right? I'm just not. So your monthly spread has to be that. The other thing with vacation rentals is you've got to look and say, I've got to take into effect accountability and seasonality. Okay. Is it a destination that attracts people year round? Or is it a destination where, I can rent it by the week during the summer, but I'm going to have to deep discount it during the winter like a beach house, right? Most people that have beach houses, they don't rent them by the week during November. Why is that? Because it's cold. Who rents beach houses in the cold? Snowbirds. So, they'll take a deep discount and rent it out for the entire month. And do that, right? So, you're going to, if you're doing a VRBO, you're going to need to make sure that you check into the rates in those areas, the occupancy in those areas during certain months, and then in VRBO, it's all about the monthly cash flow.
Hey, about this question too, in First Deal Done Fast, in the bonuses, I did a interview with Tyler Sheff, and he gives you lots of resources to be able to find out how much to charge, to be able to set it up automatically, to be able to get the people that you need, like a cleaning person and a handyman and all those things. He's got resources for you, and it's in the bonus section. I think I called it Airbnb with Tyler Sheff or something. So if you're in First Deal Done Fast, that's in the bonus section, and he doesn't hold back. And that Tyler does that. Tyler is one of the coaches in the Rockstar group coaching, so you can ask him questions in there if you're a rock star. But there's lots of good stuff in the bonus on Airbnb just about vacation rentals.
So Tripp says there seems to be a lot of moving parts with owner financing and lease options. That's true. Is there a list of items or responsibilities that must be covered with the seller and then with the tenant buyer? If not, do you recommend a source or book or something that covers all the nuances and responsibilities? In the First Deal Done Fast, well, go ahead.
There's a checklist in the First Deal Done Fast Facebook group as to what you need to take to the appointment, the perfect appointment checklist. There's also a checklist of things that you need to discuss and clarify. Most of the there's also a seller acknowledgement in the First Deal Done Fast file that is like 30 different things that the seller says, yes, okay, I know we're doing this, I know we're doing that, I know we're doing this, I understand this. So yes, that's in the file section of the First Deal Done Fast Facebook group. And also, First Deal Done Fast, I got the workbook ordered, done, and it is drop shipping to your house. There's a lot of stuff in the workbook that'll help you with some of that stuff also. But I could put together another checklist also that says, make sure you get this, make sure you get that, make sure you get this. I can work on that a little bit more for you, Tripp. No problem.
The other thing I would recommend when we talk about it being covered with the seller and stuff, I tell my sellers as little as possible. Okay, if they don't ask, I don't tell them anymore because, if it's overwhelming for us and we kind of halfway understand it, it's really going to be overwhelming for them if there's a lot of moving parts and pieces.
But it's not that we're withholding information. We're just not going to introduce confusing stuff to them.
That's right. You don't want to leave the appointment and them feel like they've been drinking from a fire hose. I mean, you
don't
really,
conduct
you really
a real
don't.
estate seminar in the kitchen.
So great example. And there's some stuff out there, maybe some stuff we could even brush up on a little more. But keep that to yourself until you have to reveal it, right? Because we don't want to overload them. I've done that before, and when you do that, you'll take, you may walk away and them say, yes, they're open to it. And then when you follow up with them, it's always, and it's never, I changed my mind. It's, well, I talked to my cousin and they had somebody that got burned, or, it's always somebody else's fault. So if you're hearing that's the norm. Nobody wants to just tell you, hey, I changed my mind. It's somebody else's fault.
Another thing that you can think about when you're trying to decide, what do I tell them, what do I not tell them? Find out what's wrong with them. Find out what problem they are having. Use their words. I talk about this in the module 3, talking to sellers. Shadow them. Find out what's wrong with them and fix whatever's wrong with them. Okay? And focus on them and their pain and their problem. And you'll get a lot further. If they wanted to know all the little intricacies and all these great things, and they wanted to start professionally going out and doing lease options, tell them to call me. All right? They don't. They have a problem. They want you to solve it as quickly and as fast and as easily as possible. They have some questions, but it's just that they just want to double check some things in their head.
So next question, when posting on Craigslist for sellers, which categories have you posted to?
In the middle, it's real estate and real estate for sale. And if you are a licensed person, you have to put it under real estate by broker. If you are not a licensed person, you can put it under real estate by owner. If you are an investor agent, you have to go to the high side and put it under a broker. And you have to say, investor agent, warning, warning. I have a license and I'm trying to make money.
Specifically here, I think we asked about real estate services. I don't think we've ever posted anything under real estate services, have we?
No.
I don't think
There's
so.
a place for looking to buy real estate, and there's a place for looking to sell real estate. I don't do real estate services. That sounds to me like an agent or an appraiser or a mortgage broker or somebody besides just Joe Blow that'd be kind of surfing Craigslist.
So that kind of jogs a memory. Here's something I got asked about a week ago. Somebody said, well, I've tried Craigslist posting and I'm just not really getting any hits. And so, you know what a value bomb is?
No.
All right, we're going to give a value bomb. Value bomb is something that is usually very simple, but it comes from proven experiences. And so we're going to drop a value bomb here. All right. If you're using Craigslist, and I don't care if you're doing it to find sellers or if you're marketing it to tenant buyers, and me personally, I found that Craigslist is my number one place to go for marketing to tenant buyers. Do get leads from sellers and stuff too, but I love it for marketing the properties. I don't care what you're doing on Craigslist. You have to have a schedule, and you have to stick to that schedule. Okay, and we're talking daily posts. If you're not posting on there daily, you're not going to optimize your leads and your chances and all that kind of stuff. There are things that you can do on there. If you're looking for sellers, you can set up if this then that, that'll actually send stuff to your inbox and stuff like that.
How's that work?
Pretty good when your wife sets it up and then sends it to your email address. But, hey.
And then you whine and complain because I sent it to the wrong one.
Yeah, I was getting bombarded. Anyway, if you're going to set it up and send it to your spouse, ask them first. Ask them which email address they want.
Oh, yeah. Definitely be your spouse's secretary. That's what they want you to do.
Be nice.
Anyway, this whole Craigslist thing is really funny because stick to a schedule, make sure you post, make sure you do this. Hearing him say that makes me want to choke him out a little bit because I very vividly remember driving from Knoxville to Atlanta when he was living in Douglasville, and we were on our way to a Cajun restaurant in downtown Douglasville for dinner because we didn't have the kids that weekend. And I am frantically posting my houses and my stuff to Craigslist, and all I'm hearing from the driver's seat is, why don't you pay attention to me? Why can't you just stop working? Why can't you do this? Why do you have to do that right now?
Virtual assistant.
Because I have a schedule, and I have to post to Craigslist so I can make the money,
All right, so on to the next question here. Leslie says, if a seller is ever in the process of sprucing up the place, paint, floors, minor repairs, etc., would you ever make part of your offer to buy the place as is? Absolutely. Okay, because unless you're just some kind of deranged person, we don't like doing all that kind of stuff. We don't like fixing floors and painting, and we just don't, okay?
I absolutely would not let them finish that.
That's what I just said.
No, you didn't. You said let them finish because we don't want to do it.
I said absolutely I would make the offer. I would never let them finish it because they don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, and they don't want to do it either.
I heard that going a different way.
No. Sorry. If that wasn't clear, let me make it clear. No, I would not let them finish. Even better is if you can get in and talk to them before they start, right? Because then, and when I go through properties when I'm talking to them and I know, and especially if it's somebody that I know they're not an investor and they're not used to this game, we'll walk through and I'm like, man, and I'll be doing this and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm counting windows. You're counting, yeah, these windows have got to go. So I got to count and see how many. The windows are going to have to replace? Yes, look. Point. What are you pointing at now? We see that fascia up there, and you see the soffit over there, and this or whatever. All that's going to have to be redone. So anytime you can make them think about the burden of doing that work and stuff, and you've got a way to get them out of their pain without them having to go through that and administer that process or do the work themselves or whatever they were going to do, yes, that is always leverage. It is in your favor.
Here's a good question for you to ask. So how long have you been flipping this thing? And sometimes when they answer, it brings up all sorts of emotions that we've been doing this entirely too long because my brother, he wants to do all this stuff, and or my wife wants to come and look at it every day, and then she keeps adding stuff too. We should have been done Oh, really? So I'm hearing that there's another problem with this, and you don't actually want to be flipping this thing?
Or make them think they've already overpaid. You're talking about the windows. You're like, man, this thing's got a lot of windows. I mean, at $200 a window, that's a lot. Well, $200. Well, I just paid $350. Oh, well, my bad. We do them for $200. I'm sorry. boy, it will touch off some pain and some emotion.
They'll be going and say, "I told you."
You know, and we do. We get windows for $200. So
install.
In Knoxville, we can get them 200 installed. But anyway, different story. So anytime you can throw out stuff that's your own personal experience and make them kind of touch that nerve right then and there. All those are type things that'll make them go to don't poke the bear. Things that'll make them want to sign up right now. Because they just want to be rid of the pain. So absolutely, if they're in the middle of it, we don't want them to finish it, because if the longer they go and the more pain it takes them to do it at the end of the day, the more likely that they're going to want a retail price and things like that, right? So absolutely go ahead and do that.
We did, Jay. We already answered your question, but we'll do it again. All right. So the question is, when you're calling on sellers about an owner financing deal, she gets asked if this is for her to occupy the property or if it's an investment. And that depends on you. Is it something that you're going to be moving into, or is it an investment for you? And you're going to have to practice how you answer this, because I get all sorts of flack online because I don't tell people I'm an investor. Because when I call and say, "Hi, my name's Whitney and I'm an investor in your area," all they hear is scam, or all they hear is, "Oh, so you're going to try to steal my house?" Or all they hear is, "You're going to give me some low dollar offer and you're not going to take care of it, and this was my mama's house," and blah, 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 blah. I don't tell people I'm an investor. I am a real estate matchmaker. I help people with real estate problems. I buy a bunch of houses, but I buy land and apartments and all sorts of other things. And, tell them, I'm looking in this area. There's a good chance maybe I would move in it, but I want to come look at it and see if it would suit me, or if it would suit some of my partners that are looking for other investment properties. So this is one that you got to roll with, and you got to kind of feel what your speech is going to be on this. This is an excellent opportunity for you to use your one-liner and for you to say, "My name is Whitney and I'm trying to look at properties in this area. Your house fits the description of what I wanted. And I'm trying to buy 100 houses, but I'm also trying to buy a place for my husband and I out on the lake. Is yours on the lake? All right, then no, it won't qualify for me, but I can still buy it." So you're going to need to roll with that. Use your one-liner with that and, talk to them. Get a feel for them. If they start spouting off about all those investors that have been calling and giving them all those prices, you got to be like, "Yeah, those people. I'm not one of those people." Ugh.
Throw rocks at your enemies, right?
Don't name your enemies, but definitely say, "I'm not one of them." No, God, ooh, no. I hope I'm not one of them. So roll with it. Throw your one-liner in there and figure out how you can position yourself on the same team next to them. Not above or below, not in front or behind, but line yourself up with them so that you're taking whatever it is on as a team. People like that.
So Leslie says, have you ever gotten a business under lease option, a company operation looking to sell? I'm assuming you mean not an LLC that owns a single family home, but a commercial property. Is that what you're asking, Leslie? So we'll roll with that. Okay. So
yeah.
Let's.
She says yes.
Okay. All right. So let's. And I don't know if you have a particular one in mind, but let's just throw something out there. Let's say this is a diesel mechanic shop. Okay.
Ooh, I love truck shops.
So let's say that there is somebody that they own a diesel mechanic shop. Maybe they don't have anybody in the family that can or wants to take this thing over. And so let's pretend that we were out browsing LoopNet, which is basically a version of Zillow or the MLS for commercial properties. And so let's say we're out there browsing LoopNet and we come across this diesel mechanics shop and it's for sale. And let's just make up a number. Let's say they want $500,000 for the business existing as is. Okay, so go in, take over everything, take over all the contracts that are currently in place, and things like that. Okay, so the question would be, can you do this under a lease option? Yes, absolutely. It will work. I've not done it on a commercial business, but it is quite common to do lease options and or owner financing on multifamily, so apartment complexes and stuff like that. Quite common, and basically the same rules and things like that begin to apply. You would want to get some kind of non-refundable option fee up front. You would obviously then be looking to have monthly cash flow in excess of the payments that you're then going to have to go back and you're going to have to make. So the principles are the same. The only thing that would be a little bit different is there you would be analyzing things not based on a comp basis and rentals, but on an income basis, right? So you would want to be looking at what is the cap rate and what is the average return for other businesses in that same area. And that would help you then value that property. So it's not really about the mechanics of putting everything in place. It would be understanding of what you would want to offer them in terms of 3 separate offers.
Okay, besides what he just said, in the group program, there's a week of everything he just said, but broken down into a way that you can understand, and we can help you structure a deal like that in the group Rockstar program. First Deal Done Fast is not set up for that. First Deal Done Fast is to get your first lease option deal done fast.
And if there's anybody out there, one of the things I'm doing right now, working on how do we improve some of the things that are out there in terms of that. Those of you that are in that group program, you know that it comes with apartments and stuff, and you know that there is a spreadsheet in there called a quick analysis. And I have used that same spreadsheet on all my apartment deals I've done.
Thousands.
But I kind of want to make it a little better. I kind of want to create something that kind of goes to that next step. And so anyway, that's kind of what I'm working on.
I have some exciting news.
You've got exciting news?
Y'all want to hear some exciting news? I think maybe we should come back later and do some exciting news.
Okay.
While we've been on this call, though, in First Deal Done Fast, if you're in First Deal Done Fast, go over to the student group in First Deal Done Fast. You'll see my really exciting news, and it's not even really my really exciting news. My exciting news is that I got the workbooks done and they're being shipped out today, but there's some really exciting news in First Deal Done Fast. So y'all hop on over there, and then I'll be back later tonight and I'll let everybody know the good news. But yeah, I'm excited for you.
Okay. So what other questions do you have? We've still got a few minutes, got 10 minutes or so. Surely somebody else has additional questions.
Don't call me Shirley.
Do you even know what movie that's from?
Shirley.
It's from Airplane.
I don't know. I probably wasn't born when it came
out. One more thing I did want to talk about. Later today, so I put up a poll last week in the free group. Thank you for those of you that answered. One thing that it opened my mind to was a lot of people answered others. So I put in a lot of the roadblocks and fears and things like that we got from the joint research that I did with a couple of organizations that we had mentioned earlier. But a lot more people answered other than they did anything else. So I promise you that I'm going to go on and I'm going to talk about some of these different things. So one of the things that a lot of people focused on was rejection. Okay. So we're going to do a video either later today or sometime tomorrow we're going to start that series off, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about rejection. We're going to talk about why that's some of people's biggest fears. And then we're going to talk about what are some ways to help alleviate that. Okay. And it's two things. Some of these are things that you can do to make the person on the other end of the phone think about you differently. But a lot of the rejection stuff is within our own minds. So we're going to talk about that too. Okay. So stay tuned for that. I'll put rejection in the title so you'll know which one it is, and we'll go from there.
Sorry.
Any other questions?
Must have been a lie. Trip wants to know if these things are recorded. Yes, they're recorded, and then we splice them up and put them out in bite-sized chunks. I'm gonna die.
Yep.
I also want to remind everybody that we're going to California a month from today for a W3, Whitney's Weekend Workshop. And this one is going to be totally different than any of the ones that we've done so far this year. This is going to start a new phase in W3s. So if you want the information on that, you can go to whitneynicely.com/California. And if you're in First Deal Done Fast, you get $300 off. If you're in the group coaching, you get $500 off. And if you're one-on-one coaching, you get to come for free. All right. So we're going to Pasadena and October 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good. All right. WhitneyNicely.com/California. Also, if you want to talk, I've got plenty of space open on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you want to talk about getting into group or one-on-one coaching, go to WhitneyNicely.com/schedule to talk about group, one-on-one, or if you want in First Deal Done Fast. Totally cool. WhitneyNicely.com/schedule.
Anything else?
Yeah, we got one more question. How much to bug a seller? They reached out to you first. You've communicated that you're interested. They just will not call back or text back. But you think it's a great deal. How long do you bug them?
I think it depends on your type of communication. A lot of people, I like to still have the personal touch. I mean, where are those letters?
I put them up.
I mean, we could contract with a company to do those for us, but it's still not going to have the same tear and the same writing and the same personal touch and the same, all those things that you're going to get. What I like to do is I'll reach out a couple of times, but if I reach out twice and don't get a response, my next follow-up may be something like a thank you note or, something of that nature that says, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time, blah, blah, blah. As I mentioned, I'm here to help solve problems. Sorry that we haven't had the ability to connect. Here's my card, my name and number. Just want to know that I'm still thinking about you, blah, 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 blah. I don't think anything's going to be, I don't think anybody's going to get mad about something like that. If you're kind of copying and pasting the same text and sending it to them over and over, maybe that gets a little bit annoying. But the kind of the just casual approach, just the, hey, not trying to bug you, just reaching out to see, if you're still interested. If you do want to apply a little bit more pressure, you could say something like, hey, I'm reaching out again. I've got a lot going on right now, and I understand if you're not ready at this time. But if that's the case, let me know, and then we can reconnect in the future. And then you can have a tickler list and just ask them. I find if you ask people for permission before you do things, it goes a long way. So just say, hey, was planning on putting you on a list to follow up with you in 3 months. Would that be okay? And most of the time it'll get a response. Even if they hadn't been contacting me, usually if I'll ask them a direct question like that, and it talks about a future time, they're usually okay with that.
Also, it's kind of like dating. All right, and I say this in a lot of the videos. You don't have to chase the right ones. They'll meet you halfway. If he's ducking and dodging you, let somebody else deal with him. If a seller's being a pain in the neck now, they probably always will be a pain. It might be that he has a vacation home in Florida and he's just preoccupied with that this week. But it also might be that they just don't want to tell you no and go away. They're just trying to let you down gently.
If it's a smoking deal, Leslie, it might even, you might even ask a pointed question. You could, say, hey, is there anything about, what we discussed that you're unsure of that I could explain, or anything about the deal that, you just aren't comfortable with? It may be that they have issues, but they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they don't want to, whatever. As long as I think you let them know that any conversation or any exchange is not going to be confrontational, I think they're going to be okay.
I have to go. I have a call at 2. So if you want to book a call with me, go to whitneynicely.com/schedule. There's a little video on there talking about one of my first deals. whitneynicely.com/schedule. We'll book a call and talk. We'll figure out a plan for you to get started investing in real estate. All right, y'all, let us know if you have any questions. I'll be back later to do today's lead challenge. Bye, y'all.